but we'll definitely keep Souls of the Lost here. It's a 21-22 creature. My opponent has another Arena of Glory. They cast Flage, that's okay. If this is their only plan, I think we can have lethal with our Spirit. This is better than Dark Depths. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy. Now I'm upgraded to a Dredge guy with glasses. This is my first day actually using my new glasses. So it is blue. I'm not sure if you can see here, but this frame is blue. And I also have a blue t-shirt because now we are playing Blue Dredge in Modern. So what does that mean? If you prioritize blue spells, you can have a better mana base with more basics. I'm trying even a basic swamp here. Cephalic Coliseum works as its best if you are prioritizing blue spells, of course. We can have an Undercity Sewers as our Surveil land. And I'm adding even to Sink into Stupor here. This land, Soporific Springs, this is a disguised land. But this can be also a bounce spell if we need to bounce Leyline of the Void. But actually, even a spell, we can bounce on spell if we are ahead and we can win on the next turn. So this is a really useful card. And it's pretty amazing to have this in the main deck. But this is not new, right? If you already watched our previous video here on this channel, you know that I'm trying builds with Sink to Stupor and more blue. But today I'm trying something even more, I don't know, treacherous, something like this, because now I have Souls of the Lost and I also have a 4th copy of Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog is so good for me. This is a Dredge card in its heart. I know this card saw play until now in tempo decks, control strategies, but for me Psychic Frog does everything you want from a Dredge card. It discards, it draws, it attacks, it can win the game by itself. Why I'm adding a 4th copy instead of 3? Well, after my last video here on the channel, I noticed how Psychic Frog is good in our new Blue Dredge, and I saw some comments here telling me that I should add a 4th copy of Psychic Frog. I'm always reading all the comments, so please keep posting your comments here because they are always useful. But not only that, after my previous video here on the channel, I tried to play Blue Dredge in Modern twice. And I did 3-2, 3-2. It's a good result, of course. But I lost, all of my losses were to fast decks like Energy and Prowess decks that are everywhere. So instead of changing my deck to something more aggressive, I just changed the way I was thinking. Instead of maybe trying to go including red because we need to be faster, maybe we don't need to be that faster if we have great walls to block the Prowess creatures, sometimes even with flying if we have Wander in our graveyard. So Souls of the Lost. This will be my first time playing this card in Magic the Gathering. I never played this in Pioneer or any Dredge deck in the past, or Standard. I know this card sometimes see some play in Standard. This might not be much. I can understand that this doesn't trample. This is not Hogak. But this is also a 2 mana cost creature that can be huge. And with flying, and this can discard cards as a cost. And everything I don't want right now, is to lose to Prowess decks because they are so straightforward. Then I'm using my time here to build creative decks, good decks that have Dredge as their main strategy. But then we will lose to turn 1 Prowess creature, turn 2 Prowess creature, turn 3 6 spells, and you lose because you are not fast enough. I believe that if I have more larger creatures on turn 2, we can probably survive turn 3 and win on turn 4. That's my main strategy here. And if we have 2 Souls of the Lost and 1 extra Psychic Frog, I believe we can cast Winternight stories even easier than before in our previous video, compared to what we did in our previous video, I mean. And as this is my first time playing Souls of the Lost, we have a 4th Psychic Frog. The rest is similar to what we built in the previous video. 1 less Narcomoeba to include Fatestitcher. Fatestitcher, guys. Some of you may be really surprised by this card. I also never played with Fatestitcher before, but this is interesting. I read this idea here on the comments. This wasn't my idea at the beginning, but it makes sense. I know this is crazy because Fatestitcher maybe is not that good, but hear me out. If you have a Psychic Frog or Souls of the Lost on turn 2, and then you can tap your creature to cast Winternight Stories from your graveyard on turn 3 with Harmonize, then you can unnerf Fatestitcher and do it again with a 2nd copy of Winternight Stories, or maybe just attack with a huge Psychic Frog in the same turn, and maybe even win the game on turn 3. If we have a turn 2 Souls of the Lost and a turn 3 Winternight Stories, and then we can find Fatestitcher in the same turn, we can even untap Souls of the Lost, and since we would probably mill more than half of our library, maybe we have our Wonder, and then we can attack with something like 15, 16 Souls of the Lost, or maybe even more than that for lethal on turn 3. So this adds a little bit of a combo aspect for our deck, to our deck, I mean. And I'm inclined to test even heavier Fatestitcher builds in the future. If you want to see, if you want to watch me doing this, please let me know here in the comments below. Even if this game plan doesn't work, Fatestitcher, I'm trying only as a single copy right now. So let's see what this card can do in this league. I'm honestly super curious about what we can do with this card. Maybe you can tap a blocker just to attack for lethal. Maybe you can use this being cast from our hand as something to tap or untap cards in the graveyard, in the battlefield, I mean, so we can attack easier, or maybe tap a land or something. I don't know. I want to test new cards, and this card seems interesting in our new deck. Let's see. If it is not useful, we'll take it and try something else. In the sideboard, this is similar to what we did in the last video, but now I have Inquisition of Kozilek instead of Thoughtseize. I noticed that usually we want to force our opponents to discard cheaper cards, right, with 1 mana cost, 2 or 3, and I was losing to faster decks like Prowess or energy decks with Trabing Charm. I'm not sure if we need to do much against those decks, but I tried including some Thoughtseizes, and they are not good enough to be included against faster decks. So yeah, let's try Inquisition of Kozilek instead. And since we are so blue, we have 8, 16, 24 blue cards in our main deck. So adding 4 copies of Force of Negation, we will have almost half of our deck blue. So this turns out to be a super reliable card in our deck. And of course, Harbinger of the Seas, maybe this can win us some games against greedy mana bases. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this deck. Oh, and since we have 2 Sink into Stupor in our main deck, I'm using only 2 bounce spells in our sideboard, 2 copies of Into the Floodmaw. First, Leyline of the Void is not seeing that much play, and second, freeing space from our sideboard helps us to include more control elements. And I think this is the nature of Blue Dredge in Legacy and now in Modern. I hope you enjoyed this league with me. In the last video, we did 5-0. It was amazing to win a trophy. I know this will not be always the case, so I'm using this new opportunity here to test more cards like Souls of the Lost and Fatestitcher. Hopefully it will work. Let's do it right now. Alright, we are paired against Dthmdx. This is a sweet hand. We have 2 lands. This is a keep. We have our full synergy here. This is a nice way to start, but unfortunately we are on the draw. My opponent has a Steam Vents, untapped. Okay, Darcy is here. We don't have a removal yet. The Worldly Gaze is incredibly good as our first spell. I think I will do it immediately. My opponent might have some counterspell. So Water Grave untapped, and Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, it resolved. Well, now we have Dark Blast. I think we'll put everything into our graveyard. I would like to have an extra land on top, but I will not keep an extra Souls of the Lost. I would prefer to dredge in the next turn. My opponent has Bloodstained Mire, crack it, for a basic mounting. Alright, so this might be a fast deck, yeah? This is not a Prowess creature, but it is better, right? It's a 1/2 Flying Haste, which gets... Okay, let's get Dark Blast. Let's kill this Darcy, I think. This can get bigger, and my opponent can go after several spells after casting their first one. As I was saying, this is better than Prowess, because this is more aggressive. My opponent's creature will get +2/+0. Let's play our tapped land. Our Souls of the Lost would be already a 6/7. As soon as we get Wonder, Souls of the Lost can get really big. Let's see if my reading was correct, because since my opponent led with 2 creatures, I believed it would be better to get rid of Darcy before my opponent chains a buff spell into draw spell, into removal spell, and dominates the game. Okay, a third creature, a second Slick Shot. So far so good. We are still on 13 life. We will dredge 4. Creeping Chill is absolutely amazing. We have unfortunately 1 Arcomoeba in our hand. Let's discard the card with this Souls of the Lost. We already have Dredgers, so the right choice here is... We have other stories to find, but next turn we'll probably want to cast Winternight Stories since my opponent has only flying creatures. So let's cast this huge spirit without flying yet. Hopefully next turn we can cast Winternight Stories and find some Narcomoebas to block the slick shots. Okay, my opponent will Surveil. It is a different experience playing with glasses. This is my first game ever, MTG game ever in paper or in a computer with glasses. Everything seems brighter and I feel like I'm more focused than ever. Let's see if these glasses can lead me to a win. My opponent is thinking here. They kept a card on top. They might have the win. If they have 4 spells, we just lost. But maybe my opponent has more creatures and more lands and just 1 or 2 spells. I believe this deck also plays Lava Dart. We have a beautiful Dredge build with Lava Darts. Okay, my opponent is just attacking. Mutagenic Growth, alright. Are we dead? We still have 8 life. What else? A second one? We are still alive. Barely, but we are still alive. Okay, we are down to 2 life. Okay, my opponent... Oh, my opponent was afraid of losing the game, so they played Monastery Swiftspear as a blocker. Let's Dredge 5. No, just 1 Dredger there. Now what? My opponent has only 1 card in their hand, so I feel that we don't have a choice here, unfortunately. If we had Wonder in our graveyard, we could win the game now. Let's hope for the best here. Dredge 3. 2 Creeping Chills, alright. And 1 land. Oh! We have Cephalic Elysium here. Let's discard 2 cards, or 2 best Dredgers. My opponent is down to 3. We still have 1 Chill. Can we win with Creeping Chills on turn 4 without attacking? Okay, let's think. I could cast an Narcomoeba as a blocker, hoping that my opponent has nothing else. But I think our best move is just trying to find Narcomoebas and maybe or less Creeping Chill. So Dredge and Creeping Chill Narcomoeba both. We did it. We did it. So the power of the glasses. Our blue glasses are winning. So far, so good. 1 game, 100% win. Now what? Bounce spells might be interesting. I don't think we want Forces or Harbingers. This is a fast game. We had some luck there because we didn't need to attack. My opponent did several points of damage to themselves, so Creeping Chills were enough. But actually having a blocker on turn 3 was important because my opponent couldn't deal with 8-9 creature. Let's side out Fatestitcher, I think. It is a combo piece, but I don't think we want to combo here. And 1 Souls of the Lost. We still have 5 creatures to be cast on turn 2. I'm not sure, guys, actually. I'm just testing things here. Okay, this is good. We have Psychic Frog, our best creature, in our deck. We have a Dredger to discard. We have 2 Otherworldly Gazes. Maybe you can find something else. Creeping Chill is a bummer in our starting hand, but that's life. My opponent has Steam Vents. And, okay, Swift Spear is okay. We can probably block it on turn 3. Hopefully my opponent... Okay, our best Dredger. Hopefully my opponent will not... I think we need a basic here. Basic Island. And Castle of Worldly Gaze. Okay, Narcomoeba and Prize Amalgam. We have a blocker, and we have a 3-3 coming at the end of this turn. We don't need Scour. We have Psychic Frog. Everything according to the plan. To our plan. Now what? My opponent has a second land. Cracks it. Okay, Basic Mountain. And Preordain after searching for a Basic Mountain. Interesting. So now my opponent cannot cast a blue spell. They only can cast red spells. But my opponent is fetching basics. This is just a sign of respect for our own game plan. Lava Dart targeting Narcomoeba. I was right. Lava Dart is there. I don't think my opponent will cast this Lava Dart immediately. This is probably too soon for that. Oh, another Psychic Frog. Great. So now let's find our basic swamp and cast our first frog this evening. Ribbit. And now Prize Amalgam can attack because I believe we are fine with just a Psychic Frog here. And my opponent is already down to 13. Something tells me that we are the aggressors here. It is something important to establish when you're playing Dredge. In Modern, even in Legacy. Especially in Legacy, in my opinion, but in Modern this is also important. To see if you're already the leader, I mean. Okay, but my opponent did plot a creature and didn't attack. So I guess we are winning, guys. That means we are probably winning here. Let's Dredge 5. Okay, Creeping Chill, Narcomoeba. My opponent is down to 10. I think I will even attack here. My opponent will probably be forced to chump block with Swift Spear. So Let's attack here. You know what? I'll not give flying to my frog. Let's see. My opponent will my opponent will not block. Maybe it would be better to give flying to frog, but part of me wants to kill the monk. So that's fine, because we will definitely have the win next turn. Let's cast our Psychic Frog. If my opponent doesn't have a creature, we are winning. Okay, 6:30, and my Cathedral is ringing the bells. Now, Preordain. My opponent, let's see if they keep the card or not. Oh, my opponent concedes. Oh, we won. This was fast. This was easier than expected.
That was easy.
Okay, so we are 2-0. Let's go to our next match. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patreon page, patreon.com/TheDredgeGuy. See you there. Round 2, we are paired against FranXtreme. Oh, let's, okay. And this is a keep. This is similar to our previous hand. We don't have treasures yet, but we have a good turn 1 and a great turn 2 play. We'll find treasures. We are on the draw though. We have our basic swamp here. I don't like to start with basics because, especially with 2 gazes in my hand. Okay, my opponent is a Preordain. Oh, is this a rematch? Is this another Prowess deck? My opponent didn't keep any card on top and plays Mishra's Bubble. Maybe another build, but this is similar. Maybe a tempo deck. Not that fast, maybe. Let's see. This can be even a control deck. Oh, another frog. This is pretty similar to what we saw in the previous game. So Watery Grave. Let's start with Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, we have 2 Dredges and Chill. That's amazing. And this is a different way to play Dredge compared to the red builds, right? Because if you have a card like Cathartic Reunion, you really want to keep hands with Dredgers. But when you prioritize cards like Otherworldly Gaze, Thumbscour, and even Psychic Frog. Let's see what my opponent has the Slick Shot, so this is another Prowess deck. So we can start without Dredgers, that's fine. Creeping Chill is good. It's good to gain life against this deck. So let's cast our first frog this game. Ribbit. How many frogs? We could add a frog count here. This is our second frog, right? No, this is our third frog this league. Okay, my opponent plays the Artifact, Core Steel Cutter, and now the Show Off. So is my opponent attacking? I don't think so. Okay, frog is a great blocker. All right. Now we will dredge 4. We have a second frog coming in. Unfortunately, let's discard Prismagon here, right? Because we have our Narcomoeba. Let's play tight. And now we'll have a 2-3. Do we attack or not? I think we will attack. Again, I think we are the leaders here. We are playing for a win, not to not lose. Guys, this is really different. Okay, frog will trigger. Can I discard something here, or it's better to not discard, so our second frog would be better? Let's discard 1 Dredger, because this is Dredge 4. We have only a Dredge 3 in our graveyard. Let's see. We Dredge 4. Okay, another Amalgam. Okay, I have 2 extra Amalgams there. One will enter this turn, and the other in the next turn. So I think we're good, guys. Who is the fast deck in the town? Yeah, it's pretty hard to cast damage spells into Psychic Frog. My opponent, another Cutter. My opponent needs to attack if they want to stand a chance, because we will have 2 frogs and my frogs can fly. Even Narcomoeba can be huge here. My opponent will not attack. Oh, they don't have a great hand, right? No removal spells. Yeah, now we'll probably win this turn. Let's discard a Thug. We can even cast our second Otherworldly Gaze. Maybe now? Or maybe it's better to keep Gaze as a discard spell. We already have 2 Amalgams here. This is hard. Okay, let's cast 1 Gaze. Okay, we have Wonder. Now that we know about Wonder, this is even better. And all of our creatures have flying. We'll win this on turn 4. Against the most aggressive deck in Modern. My opponent concedes. We are doing a great job. Now let's go to our game 2. Do I try something different? If Fatestitcher is not that good against this deck, in the previous match I chose to cut 1 Souls of the Lost, but it is good to have blockers on turn 2 here, right? Maybe 1 Stories. We didn't need to cast Stories in the previous game to win. Maybe it's better to have creatures, to include 2 bounce spells. But the way this is going, it's like we don't even need the bounce spells. It's just something that we can catch an opponent off guard. Okay, this is good. This is good. I would like to have an untapped land in my starting hand instead of Undercity Sewers. But because of it, if we don't draw another land, Let's keep it. I will probably start with Sewers instead of casting Otherworldly Gaze, but that's okay. We could maybe try to get an untapped land with Bloodstained Mire and try to hit our third land to play on turn 2. Oh, I would like to have Dark Blast now. Let's see. Okay, we have another land now. Let's start with Undercity. Okay, we have another land on top. At least we are not taking damage from our own lands. And we already have Dredgers that can be discarded with Psychic Frog. If we don't cast Gaze, it is something extra that we can discard to have a huge blocker. Let's keep the basic Swamp on top. Hopefully my opponent will have a second creature and nothing else. Basic Mountain, alright, okay. Just the Cutter. This card is so dangerous, guys. I lost, as I said to you before, I lost several matches because of this card. So I'm glad that we are winning this evening. Now we have our basic Swamp. Let's cast our fourth Frog. Ribbit. I think it's the fourth. And now Preordain. My opponent kept one card on top. Plays Scouting Tarn. Cracks it. Yeah, my opponent is thinking carefully. That means they probably cannot remove Psychic Frog. Let's see. Oh, they will attack. I think we will block, guys. We don't mind to lose our Psychic Frog if my opponent... Okay, my opponent casts Bolt. If my opponent lose resources trying to get rid of Frog, that's a win for us. My opponent tried to catch us as a surprise move here with Bolt, but we were already expecting that. So let's discard one Dredger. They might have another red spell, and if they cast 2 red spells targeting Frog, that's okay. Let's discard our second Dredger. Okay, my opponent has Lava Dart. Let's wait to see if this Darcy will get bigger first, before deciding what to do. Again, this is a win for us. My opponent has only one card in their hand right now. So Darcy is a 3/3. I would like to kill Darcy, right? But we don't need to... Let's discard only one extra card here. I think Otherworldly Gaze is probably our worst card right now. We can keep the 2 bounces. And now this will force my opponent to cast their last Lava Dart if they want to kill Frog, but then we can discard an extra card. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. My opponent is going all in to get rid of Psychic Frog, but we already have Dredgers there. We can even cast Stink with Imp next turn. Okay, now we need to discard something if we want to kill Darcy. It is hard, but I think Sink into Stupor is not that needed here. Let's keep the cheaper spell, and now we'll remove Darcy for good. So my opponent used 1, 2, 3 cards to get rid of Psychic Frog, and we lost 1 card, and not a really good one in this position. So let's... Okay, we have 1 Prism Amalgam there. Yeah, the glasses are definitely useful here. I can see things better and bigger with them. Let's get Watery Grave. We are so far ahead here. And we'll cast Stink with Imp. And now we can even cast Stink with Imps turn after turn after turn. My opponent has only 2 cards in their hand. One of them is a land, so I don't think my opponent can come back from this. They will attack. They have a trample creature, but I don't think that's... Okay, we'll kill the monk. Yeah, my opponent was just trying something desperate, but we are definitely ahead here. We have stories there. Okay, let's do what we are trying to do with this build. We'll cast stories for 2 mana and tap in a Prize Amalgam. We'll dredge 5. We'll dredge 5. Okay, Creeping Chill is here. And dredge 4. Okay, Narcomoeba. We have another 2 extra Prize Amalgams. We can discard 2 cards. If we had a Psychic Frog, I would discard only 1 card, of course. But since we don't have a frog anymore... But that frog was a hero. That frog took so much to help us to win the game. Okay, my opponent concedes. We won 2-0 again. We are 2-0 in this league. Let's go to our third match. All right, round 3. We are paired against Toscanini. And no, this is not good enough. Let's mulligan. For a moment, I thought, oh, this is so much better. Let's keep it. For a moment, I thought about keeping that. We are on the draw. We have 2 lands. One of them is tapped. That's fine. But this is what we are looking for, right? In our starting hands. We want a creature on turn 2, Dredger, and Winternight Stories on turn 3. And this is a hand that even has a Thumb's Cover on turn 1. So we have everything. Let's draw. A third land would be really... Oh, yeah. We have everything, guys. My opponent started with an Elegant Parlor. And now we have a Water Grave. My opponent kept 1 card on top. Let's start with Thumb's Cover. We have a Dredger there. We are so ahead in this game. Unless this is Storm. In this case, we can lose on this... Okay, this is not Storm. This is probably just a Cat deck, Energy. My opponent has a Gianni. But this was a weak start for my opponent. No turn 1 play. Let's dredge 5. We have Creeping Chill. We have Dark Blast there. We have only 1 black mana available. So let's cast Frog. This is our 5th or 6th Frog. Ribbit. Frog is so good in this deck. And now my opponent has another Arena of Glory, different art. Oh, they will try to get rid of Frog. We'll discard our cards here, right? So my opponent will need a second removal spell to get rid of Frog, and that's fine. Removal spells are probably better against Frog if your opponent is playing control, because less cards in their hands. Okay, my opponent has a second Galvanic Discharge, but in our case, we want to discard spells, so my opponent are not getting any card advantage. We wanted to discard our 2 Stink with Imps. Do I try to keep this Frog here? This is probably a trap, right? My opponent might have even another good card, good removal spell in their hand. Can you imagine they have Static Prison or a third Galvanic Discharge? So let's keep our Winternight Stories as a 3 mana enabler for next turn, and then we can crack Cephalic Elysium after Cephalic Elysium and win the game. I hope. Yeah, my opponent had a third Galvanic Discharge. That was a trap indeed. Alright. So Ajani flips, but without any creatures, so they will get +0. And now we will dredge 5 and cast Winternight Stories and try to win the game there. We could do something different here, like casting Dark Blast, get rid of the Cat Warrior token, but I don't think so. This is probably our best choice here. We already have 2 Amalgams. We could reach 1 or 2 Creeping Chills with these Winternight Stories. Let's see. We have a great Dredgers there. Dredge 5. Okay, 1 Creeping Chill, Dredge 3, and Dredge 4. Alright. We dredged 12 cards. Let's discard 2 cards here. 2 Imps. And we drain 6 life from our opponent. They are down to 11. We have 7 power in play. Oh no, we'll have more 6 power in the next turn. So we have lethal next turn. My opponent needs to have something pretty good here. Okay, my opponent has Static Prison. They chose to go up with the Ajani. So we need Wonder, basically. If we have Wonder, we will win the game. My opponent kept a hand without creatures, only removal spells and a Ajani. Narcomoeba is good. We have Wonder. We need a single Creeping Chill to win this game right now on turn 4 against Energy with a Ajani and 4 removal spells. We have Dark Blast in our hand, but I don't think we need it. We are on a healthy 20 life. I'm thinking if we need to go after a Ajani here, I don't think my opponent has anything else, right? Let's crack Cephalic Elysium. And I have 1 black mana available for a Dark Blast if we need that. Because if we reach a single Creeping Chill here, I will go after my opponent. And if we don't have a Creeping Chill, I know that we need to get rid of a Ajani because my Ajani can go minus next turn. And we don't want that. Let's dredge 5, and dredge 5, and dredge 4. Maybe dredge 3. We are already so low. Okay, we have a Fatestitcher there, and Creeping Chill, and Narcomoeba. My opponent is thinking here, but I don't think they... Only if they have the 4th Galvanic Discharge, but I don't think so. 10 cards. What else they might have? Lightning Bolt. Let's see. Narcomoeba enters. Creeping Chill drains. Yeah, no answers. And we have Lethal. I will cast Fatestitcher here. I will unearth, I mean. Only to deal 1 extra damage. Let's see. But we are showing off at this point, right? Let's see what my opponent has. Oh, they had the 4th Galvanic Discharge. So 3, 6, 7, 8. Fatestitcher was actually the lethal point of damage. This wasn't supposed to be the main function of this card in our deck, but we won because of Fatestitcher. Really? As a 1/2 flying with haste. Alright. Just perfect deck building. Now what? Let's include some Force of Negation, maybe. Harbingers, maybe. You know, guys, I'm not sure. I feel like our deck is already really good against fast decks. We tried including some answers, some bounce spells in the previous matches, but they were not really needed. Okay, this is another great hand. We have... Guys, I'm not sure, but Magic Online is helping us a lot here with great hands. We have Psychic Frog, Souls of the Lost, Tom's Cover on turn 1, Stink with Imp, our best Dredger, and Winternight Stories. We don't have a 3rd land yet, but we can cast the Stories on turn 3. Okay, we have a 3rd land. Okay, let's do this, guys. Let's win. Polluted Delta. This is like one of the best hands possible. We could have, I don't know, Cephalic Elysium maybe, instead of Polluted Delta, but that's fine. And now we even have a Dredger there. Golgari Thug is there. Let's see, my opponent might have Traven Charm or something similar. If they do have this, we can rebuild our graveyard because we have Psychic Frog and Souls of the Lost. So let's see. If they just play Ajani again, we are so far ahead. My opponent cracks the fetch land for a basic plains. Oh, Goblin Bombardment. Alright, my opponent is going big instead of playing small creatures. Our Souls of the Lost is already a 6-7 here, or a 7-8 after, or an 8-9. I will play Frog here, but part of me is thinking if it would be better just playing Souls of the Lost. Because next turn we can play Winternight Stories and probably get Wonder to attack with a giant Souls of the Lost for the win on turn 3. Let's see. My opponent might have removal spells targeting Frog here. Yeah, they do have Static Prison. I'm not sure if we're supposed to discard something here. Maybe just one card? Okay, let's discard 2. But I'm not sure. Part of me thinks that my opponent might have a Thraben Charm there after this Static Prison. But if they had a Thraben Charm, that would be the best turn 2 play, right? Okay, they only have a Johnny, alright. Then my opponent can sacrifice the Cat Warrior token to flip a Johnny immediately. They have only 2 cards in their hand. After that, a Johnny can... Oh, my opponent did plus a Johnny, alright. So we need to be quick here. But it doesn't matter too much to put too many creatures in play right now. Let's think. At the same time, a single Souls of the Lost will be huge, right? Huge enough to win if my opponent doesn't have another Static Prison. So let's cast Winternight Stories here. We already have Wonder. The Souls of the Lost will get so big. We'll dredge 5, and 5 again, and 4. We have a Narcomoeba. My opponent will definitely minus a Johnny next turn. But then we can keep Souls of the Lost. Okay, let's discard 2 creatures. Based on what my opponent is doing, I don't think they have Graveyard Hate in their hands. So we already have a 17-18 flying. That Static Prison is going down. This card is so huge. This is like playing Merit Ledge in Modern. My opponent chose to not pay the Static Prison since we can get a Frog back. But we'll definitely keep Souls of the Lost here. It's a 21-22 card creature. My opponent has another Arena of Glory. They cast Flage, that's okay. If this is their only plan, I think we can have lethal with our Spirit. This is better than Dark Depths. My opponent concedes. Whoa, guys. Is this the power of the glasses? Alright, we had another 2-0 against an aggressive deck. Let's keep going. Let's go. Round 4, guys. We are paired against, this is a mulligan, 12 Azure. And this is a keep. We have 3 lands, Frog, and Dredger. We are on the play, so we can grab our Surveil land or Azure turn 1 play. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a Thoughtseize. No, just a Steam Vents and Tamiyo, alright. For a moment I thought this could be another Prowess deck. Hopefully it isn't. And now, Undercity Sewers. I think I keep Cephalic Coliseum here. In case we don't find a Winternight Stories, this is a great turn 3 play. So my opponent is playing probably a control deck, but this might be an aggressive deck with Tamiyo. So let's grab Psychic Frog here. We already have several sources of blue mana. My opponent plays Scouting Charm, corrects it. Now they cannot attack with Tamiyo unless they have a removal spell for Psychic Frog. Oh, okay. This is a different deck. This is for a moment I was thinking here, oh no, this is not a Prowess deck, but this is a control deck with Cory Steelcutter. So this is like a Miracles deck in Legacy with Monastery Mentor. I think this is probably the case. But my opponent couldn't attack this turn, so we are already ahead. Psychic Frog is a beast. Let's discard Stinkwood Imp and dredge 5. Fatestitcher is there. Okay, we have something cool that we can do here. Unfortunately, since I chose a basic swamp, I cannot do the coolest thing. Maybe we don't need basic swamp in this deck. Maybe this was a bad idea. It feels good when we want black and you were playing against an aggressive deck, but now I needed 3 sources of blue mana, or 2 sources of blue mana and 1 Cephalic Coliseum, and I don't have them. So yeah, this was probably a mistake. Let's pay attention on this on next time. Considering that, I think I'll attack with Frog first. Let's see. Oh, my opponent will block with the Monk. All right, that's fine. Maybe I should give flying to my Frog. Maybe this was a mistake. Let's pay attention, guys. Let's discard here. Let's pay attention. It's still a new deck, and I'm using glasses. So many new things. Okay, so let's dredge 5, dredge 4, and dredge... I don't think my opponent will have X1 creature, but they might have. So let's grab Dark Vest. We have a basic swamp there. 2 Creeping Chills. And this was stupid again, because we needed to discard 1 extra dredger anyways. Guys, I'm sorry. This was a long day before starting recording this. This was not a tight gameplay. Let's hope we can still win this. My opponent attacks with Tamio, so no haste creatures. That's a good sign. Our frog is flying. We definitely needed to crack Cephalic Coliseum before attacking in the previous turn. Oh, my opponent has Flame of Anor. Do we try to save frog here? I think so. Now we have a 5/6. My opponent's Tamio will flip, but okay, my opponent has a Mox Opal, so they might remove frog if they have another point of damage. No, blue. Okay, guys, we might win this even after my pawns. So now what? We'll dredge 5. We have stories there. But again, if this basic swamp was a watery grave, we will definitely win here. Now we cannot have everything. If I attack, my opponent will definitely block, because we can win if my opponent don't block. But do we need to attack to win this game? Maybe it's better to just cast Winternight Stories here. Let's see, we have 2 chills in the exile. We can hit 2 extra chills. We could win this turn if we had a watery grave. This was a huge mistake. But it is what it is. Now let's think. I can cast Winternight Stories unless I try to hit blue mana. But I don't think this is good enough. So let's dredge 4. Dredge. Oh, guys, where is my head? Those glasses are not doing a great job now. I had a Stinkwood Imp in my hand. I forgot to discard with the Psychic Frog's ability. I need a glass of water. Okay, I have a Dark Blast here, but this is useless at this point. We have a win next turn, but my opponent has 3 cards in their hand. Let's see if this is enough to win, even after my pawns. Yeah, maybe I'm getting distracted with these glasses. I will take them off. Oh, but now I'm seeing worse. Okay, let's keep the glasses. Let's keep the glasses. Preordain. Whoa, my eyes are already used to glasses. I cannot see anything without glasses anymore. I'm doomed. I'll need those glasses to the rest of my life. All right, 1 card on top. My opponent kept 1 card on top. Tamio pluses. Can my opponent attack here? I don't think so. Oh, they might flip the second Tamio. Oh yeah, this is smart. They'll flip their second Tamio and pluses again, so my creatures will get only +1. No, but in this case they will not have a blocker, so our frog can win. Oh no, this seemed like a good idea, but no, this is not a good idea. Because now, okay, our frog will get -2, -0. But we can discard 3 cards. My opponent doesn't have a flying creature. Yeah, no. This was a huge mistake from my opponent. Not the most beautiful gameplay here from my part, from my opponent's part. But yeah, my opponent cannot win. We are on a super healthy 27 life. They're trying to draw more cards, but they don't have mana. It doesn't matter. Our creatures have flying. Yeah. My opponent will attack here. I'll cast a Dark Blast, targeting my opponent's Monk token. I think I will block with Narcomoeba here. Okay, we are on 24 life, and now we will win. Narcomoeba, right? Let's discard cards. My 3 Press Amalgams will do 3 damage, my frog will do 5 damage, and we will win this. I don't think my opponent has Solitude. It doesn't seem the deck that has Solitude. And if my opponent has a Solitude, this will probably be a play on the previous turn, not now. Okay, guys, we won. Besides of the glasses. I'm putting the blame on the glasses, but that wasn't me. Now what? 2 into the football, maybe? I think I want Inquisition of Kozilek on the play and maybe Force of Negation on the draw. The thing is, my opponent might have something like Rest in Peace, but they are also playing artifacts. So maybe they have Graveyard Hate and some different artifacts that can be fetched with Urza Saga, maybe? I don't know, guys. I'm not that familiar with this build. This Cutter thing, this new artifact, is a new card. So I think people are testing cards, so we are not safe. Okay, this is a keep. Not the fastest hand. My opponent might counter my Psychic Frog, but okay, my opponent starts with Urza Saga. And Pithy Needle. Oh, they will definitely name Psychic Frog here. Yeah. Our frog is a sad rabbit. And it can still draw cards. Prepincho is the worst draw in our entire deck, but we have a Dredger on top, so Undercity Silvers put us on the right track. Oh, this is interesting, because if my opponent has an X2 creature, we can kill with a Dark Blast on turn 3. We have access to black mana. Just a Preordain. This turn 1 Urza Saga will probably fetch some good artifact to our opponent, maybe a Tormod Script or something. So good thing is we can still play. Oh, Press Amalgam and Narcomoeba. That's great. That represents 4 power in play on the next turn. We'll still play Frog. It can draw cards if my opponent doesn't have blockers. And by draw, I mean Dredge 5. And now my opponent taps Urza Saga. Urza Saga triggers. Yes, so Guide Lantern is there. My opponent will exile my Stinkweed Imp. We have 5 power in play. We can win this even without dredging. And we have a Dark Blast in play in our hand with 2 black mana. My opponent plays Moxopol. They need something else. They crack Mishra's Bubble. Scalding Tarn, okay, they have more mana. And that's it. We cannot activate Psychic Frog because of Pithing Needle. Oh, we have bounce spells in our deck, right? I think I will cast a Dark Blast in our Prized Amalgam here, just to have a Dredger in our graveyard. It feels weird, but that's fine. Okay, not the best top for us. Next turn we can cast Fate Stitcher from our hand, and that would be hilarious. Let's attack. Do I cast another Dark Blast just to dredge? I think so. Let's put our Prized Amalgam down to 1 Thoughtness, and now we will dredge 3. Okay, we have Stories for next turn, and we have Stinkweed Imp. My opponent has Soul Guide Lantern, so they will probably crack that Lantern at some point. But if they don't, we can even cast Winternight Stories just to draw 3, discard 1, and keep the cards flowing. But I think my opponent will probably crack that Soul Guide Lantern now. Another Saga. Is my opponent playing with more than 1 Soul Guide Lantern? Hopefully they are not doing that. Okay, Emery. Now I feel like I'm playing against a Legacy deck, because my opponent can... We can kill Emery, right? Right. We have a Dark Blast. So let's try to do this now, unless my opponent has a counter spell. Oh, my opponent will be super smart here. Okay. I mean, it was obvious, but now what? We can still win, but it's so difficult to believe in that. Let's attack here. My opponent will let this go. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze before Psychic Frog triggers. Okay, we have Dredge. Oh, we have a Coliseum there. The thing is, my opponent will just replay Soul Guide Lantern turn after turn after turn. So I don't think I will keep Cephalic Coliseum. Frog triggers. Let's Dredge 4. Creeping Chill is good. We have another in our hand, so my opponent's down to 5. We can win next turn. And this time we can cast another Otherworldly Gaze, maybe? Down to 20. Let's cast it. We could cast Golgari Thug here. Just okay, this is even better. So Narcomoeba, and I'll keep Souls of the Lost on top. This is a way to... Yep. Actually, with Soul Guide Lantern, Souls of the Lost is not that good. It's just a way to get rid of a Golgari Thug next turn. Maybe it would be better to just grab Fate Stitcher to play with. Okay, what is this? Jeskai Ascendancy. Oh, my opponent is a combo deck in disguise. Oh no, I thought we will have this with the Creeping Chill from our hand plus 2 Narcomoebas. This would be enough, but let's see my opponent's gameplay. Every time they cast a non-creature spell, they might draw a card and untap their creature, so Emery can grab Bubble again and again and again. Emery will get bigger. My opponent will, at some point, play other Moxopals so they can get more mana, and then they can cast a Cutter to win with a haste creature with Trample. Is that what they are trying to do? Did I understand that correctly? Let's consider here, guys. My opponent has 34 cards in their hand, and I don't have time to wait for this. I think we can save some time. They can probably win here. So it will be wiser to wait. But if I wasn't recording this, I would probably wait a little bit more. But I want to make things better for you, my viewers. So now what? Match is tied. This was our first loss this evening against Control / Prowess / Combo deck, Urza Saga deck. Consign to Memory seems important on the play because my opponent can just play Soul Guide Lantern or something. Maybe Fate Stitcher is not as its best against this deck. Harbinger of the Seas, maybe? But now we are on the play, so we have the advantage. Maybe we include Fate Stitcher and just submit. I don't know, guys. This is my first time playing with a Fate Stitcher. And I would like to test this card doing our thing, as I explained to you before. So let's see. I think being on the play, if my opponent starts with a turn 1 Urza Saga, we can still win this game. And they will not have Urza Saga every time, right? Okay, this is a kill. Unfortunately, a Creeping Chill, but we have 3 lands, a good turn 1, a great turn 2, and a great turn 3, and plans for a turn 4. This is just too good. We don't have Dredgers yet, but Thumb Scour plus 2 natural draws, we will definitely find a Dredgers. Let's cast Thumb Scour here. Okay, we have dredgers. I mean, one dredger, but it is our best dredger. And Source of the Lost is already a 4/5. It would be a 10 power creature in a few seconds. My opponent has Hallowed Fountain and Temio. All right. Now we'll dredge 5. Okay, let's play Polluted Delta. We can cast Stinkweed Imps if we feel this is needed. We are not afraid of Temio. So I'll cast Souls of the Lost. It will be immediately a 9/10 creature. Let's discard the Stinkweed Imp. We have 3 Imps there. We have only 3 Dredgers, 3 Stinkweed Imps, the better ones. And we have a 9. Oh, my opponent has Portable Hole. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. And then there's a Saga. Oh, this is where we lose the game. Okay, 2 Narcomoebas to save the game, but not really, right? We don't have amalgams yet. Let's play Cephalic Coliseum and cast Winternight Stories. Come on, Winternight Stories. Show us what you got. So Dredge 5, Amalgam. We need something extra, and Dredge 5. Yeah, Amalgams and Narcomoebas didn't find each other here this turn. And not a single Creeping Chill. But next turn we can cast a Fatestitcher. I mean, Unearth Fatestitcher to bring back our Amalgams. My opponent plays a basic mountain. What now? Temio attacks? We'll block, right? My opponent might have a ninja or something. And that's it. My opponent will probably create a construct and fetch Soul-Guide Lantern. So we don't... Okay, Creeping Chill is there. We don't have much time to win this. And this is our 3rd game. So let's think carefully on what to do. I think cracking Cephalic Coliseum is probably our better idea here. So let's dredge. Creeping Chill is good. Dredge 4. Our deck is thinning. Another Creeping Chill, great. We want or less an Narcomoeba, right? So dredge 4. Okay, Narcomoeba is there, great. We will still grab a Fatestitcher, but that's alright. Now we'll have all Prize Amalgams back before my opponent Urza Saga fetches their Graveyard Hate. 3 Amalgams will enter the battlefield. We'll have 3 cards in our deck. Let's see. Let's stitch the fate. All of our creatures have flying, so we can attack dealing 3 damage. My opponent will go down to 5. They might have that that artifact that gives lifelink. What is its name? The Spear. But if this isn't the case, we might win this, even against my opponent's Urza Saga, plus Portable Hole, plus Graveyard Hate. My opponent is thinking a lot here. Maybe this is a sign that it is not an easy decision. Okay, my opponent just constructs. My opponent's down to 5, and we'll have more zombies coming after that. We have lethal on board. Can my opponent win here? Or maybe destroy our board? It's not easy when you're down to 5 life and you have 3 Narcomoebas. You see 3 Narcomoebas plus other creatures on the other side of the table. That means my opponent probably cannot fetch anymore, a land I mean, and they cannot pay life to put Shockland in play, unless they can get rid of at least 4 creatures from our side. We have a Creeping Chill in our hand, but my opponent doesn't know that. So they might think that we can dredge 3 and find our last Creeping Chill. So this is not good. My opponent... Yeah, since my opponent is losing the game, they opted to get mana instead of Soul-Guide Lantern, because we don't need our graveyard anymore. But can they win here? Guys, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. My opponent is attacking. Why? Because they lost? Let's block Temio. And my opponent has another Saga, alright. And taps. Oh, they are flipping Temio. But we have lethal, even without Narcomoebas. Okay, we have 3 Prize Amalgams. Okay, my opponent plays another one. Now what? We don't have lethal anymore. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze instead of drawing a card, just to see the order here. So we keep the land, right? And then we can cast 2 creatures in a row. Souls of the Lost is huge and can win the game by itself. Let's attack first. We attack our opponent, of course. They can block 1 Prize Amalgam here, and they will go down to 1. They have 6 cards in their hand. Let's not celebrate. Down to 1 is still healthy enough to win the game. I will place a Cephalic Coliseum and pass the turn. This is a situation where Fatestitcher would be good, just to tap Temio. Maybe you could play with more than 1 Fatestitcher in our deck. Maybe you can do that. Okay, my opponent is drawing cards. That's a good sign. The thing is, my opponent doesn't have Wonder in their graveyard. If they had Wonder plus removal spell, this would be good enough. But flying is a great ability to have in Modern. Temio goes up, my opponent is thinking, tapping mana, alright. Either Spellbomb, okay, my opponent can bounce something. They played Steam Vent Stepped. My opponent attacks. We have this, guys. We have this. They can block 1, bounce the other, and dies to the 3rd Prize Amalgam. We don't even need to cast a creature. Let's go to the combat phase. We'll attack my opponent here, here, and here. Whew, this was... Okay, let's see. Let's see. My opponent has 6 cards in their hand, but I think we have this. My opponent blocks one of the amalgams. Our Souls of the Lost would be a 24-25, guys. This is massive. My opponent bounces the other amalgam and loses. All right. We won another one. Guys, we are playing for a trophy. We are actually playing for a trophy with Fatestitcher and Souls of the Lost. Let's do it. All right, guys. This is our last match. I had dinner before playing it because I want to be sharper as ever. And okay, this is a keep, I guess. We don't have dredgers yet, but this is an interesting thing. We have 2 frogs here, and we are on the play. We have a surveil land. Maybe this hand is just a trap, but at some point we want to test something like this, right? Frog after frog. Can we find what we need to win the game? We have Cephalic Coliseum here. We can discard cards easily. We don't want our 3rd land here, I guess. No, let's put this into our graveyard. We want to find a dredger or enablers that can find dredgers. And maybe, as I was saying, this hand can be a mistake, but I really want to keep this at some point. So let's see. Okay, another land. If it wasn't for Cephalic Coliseum, we could pass here as a blue-black Murktide region deck. So my opponent cracks Arid Mesa and Elegant Parlor. This can be another energy deck or Storm deck, probably one of them. Oh, Ral. Okay, this is a Storm deck. Oh, no. Again? Oh, and my Undercity series is... Okay. It's gone. There is a visual bug happening on MTGO sometimes. You stop your mouse. Okay, my opponent has a talent, artist's talent. And sometimes the card gets bigger forever. All right. Another land. Not exactly what we want. If my opponent cannot kill us on turn 3, we can probably kill my opponent on turn 4 if we find some ways to turn this Souls of the Lost in a huge creature. At the same point, we need to draw extra cards to find dredgers. Let's attack first, and let's discard this Narcomoeba here. My opponent's down to 16. We draw another land. Oh, gosh. Yeah, keeping that hand was probably a mistake against Storm specifically, but I would feel good against decks like Prowess or Energy, keeping a hand with 2 frogs and 1 Souls of the Lost. But we are not doing our thing yet. There is an argument here to play Souls of the Lost instead of Frog, but... Oh, my opponent is just playing a Ruby Medallion. So this is a slow start for my opponent. They did loot. Okay, no, now they have a Ritual. They will probably win from here. Yeah, we are not favored to win this game. This is a bad matchup for Dredge, and my starting hand wasn't sufficient to win this. My opponent has much mana. Let's see. Weird things can happen, but I don't think we will have a turn 4. Storm count is already 7. Casting Flames, yeah. Okay, guys, Storm count is 13. My opponent has Grape Shot and many extra spells going on. So let's concede here. This was a turn 3 win, like Storm usually can do. And this will be a hard matchup. So let's include more control elements. I want Inquisitions, I want Forces. Do I want Harbingers? Maybe. Do I want Consign to Memory? Probably. So Wonder is not needed here. Fatestitcher is probably not enough to win this. Psychic Frog. 1 less Psychic Frog. What else? 1 Stories. 2 Blasts. We need to take 4 more cards from our deck to include so many cards. Let's go with only 8 Dredgers and see what's happening. Because we really need to have access to our control tools to win this. Now it's the time to test our deck against a combo deck. And this is what I had in mind when building this deck, right? I wanted extra creatures on turn 2. Huge creatures, so we could block fast decks. Creatures from faster decks like Prowess. But also a sideboard plan against combo. And this is the case. Let's get another Thumbscour. Alright. So instead of 2 Thumbscours, we have 2 Consign to Memory. Some creatures out, some enablers out to include 4 discard spells and 4 counter spells. And let's try our best. Okay, we have a Consign to Memory and an Inquisition. This is a keep, but we need another land on top. I think let's grab Watery Grave here. There is an argument to start with Otherworldly Gaze because my opponent probably doesn't have to... Okay, 2 Orim's Chant, Desperate Ritual, Paralytic... Okay, this is not the greatest hand. My opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play. And as I was saying, I'll take the row, of course, but there is an argument to first try to hit your second land and then do what I did. But since we have a Souls of the Lost, part of me felt that if we could naturally get there somehow... Okay, we have lands here. I can hold a Consign to Memory and then play Souls of the Lost on turn 2. And then I can go to turn 3 holding Consign to Memory. So I feel fine now. We managed to discard my opponent's best card. Now they have only rituals and chants. Now what? Metamorphose is fine. We cannot counter that. Okay, yeah, my opponent needed that raw. And now we'll draw our third land. Let's fetch it. Take the basic island, not the basic swamp. Let's not do the same mistake twice. And now I can discard Sync with Imp. And this is perfect because my opponent will not have a suspicion against our Consign to Memory yet. This was a pretty regular play, just grabbing another land to not take more damage from your own Cephalic Coliseum. So that's okay. My opponent has Reckless Impulse, that's fine. Wish is there. Oh, can we win at least one game against Storm? Now it's our turn 4. We'll Dredge 5. Creeping Show is good. We have another Dredger there. My opponent is seeing our Force of Negation there. We'll attack with Souls of the Lost. And let's crack Cephalic Coliseum here because the Souls of the Lost can get really big. We'll Dredge 5. And that's it. Oh, that's too bad. Let's discard Praise Amalgam and 2 Imps. Okay, 9 damage to your face. My opponent needs to win the game next turn. They can cast Orim's Chant just to avoid losing, right? Do I play this untapped? I guess so, because we can cast Otherworldly Gaze next turn. Probably at the end step. Oh, my opponent has enchant now. Oh no. They need to win with 7 points of life. 2 mountains, Pyretic Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Wish. They have only 2 mana available. What do they have outside the game to play this turn? Something that costs 2 mana, unless they have another ritual. Oh, my opponent conceded. Oh, okay, my opponent messes up somehow. I'm not sure what happened. I have no idea, actually. But my opponent probably didn't have something that costs... do I include Harbinger now? Costs 2 mana. Maybe they needed something that had a 3 mana cost. Maybe they needed another ritual, so they could really do their stuff. Or maybe they did exactly what they needed, but since we had a huge Souls of the Lost, we will have the win next turn. I don't know. Let's ask our opponent. What did happen? We're almost there, guys. We need 1 win, but it is super... Oh. I think I'll keep it. I would like to keep the Psychic Frog. Let's hope to draw one of our blue spells. We have 5 lands in our hand, and the majority of our cards are blue. So the odds are in our favor, I guess. I'm not running the numbers here, but I think the odds are in our favor. My opponent probably doesn't have a good turn 1. Yeah, just a Survey land. And if we draw a blue card, we'll have a Force of Negation and Psychic Frog on turn 2. So come on, blue card on top. Is it blue? Ooh, another frog, alright. Okay, this is actually good because if my opponent doesn't have something incredible on turn 2, we can even hold another frog. Let's see. But they usually have, right? They kept 7. Oh, just a Ren's Resolve. This is such a weak play that I think I will force it. Yeah, I don't think this is a good play. I think my opponent doesn't have too many things going on. So let's try to... Creeping Show is good. Let's try to keep things... I might lose because of that, but my intuition says that this was a weak play. Consign to Memory is good. Am I holding Consign to Memory instead of playing Psychic Frog? It's probably better to cast Frog here because if my opponent had a turn 2 draw spell, I don't think they have Raw or Ruby's Medallion yet. So I think we can be ahead. We still need to draw more cards to win this game. So Frog is probably our best turn to play instead of holding Consent to Memory. Now what? Please, no Raw. Metamorphose is fine. Do they have a third land? Another Metamorphose. 2 red mana. Third land. Okay. Down to 14. 3 red mana. Valakut Awakening. Alright, so they don't win the game this turn, but they will have so many good cards to win on the next turn. They drew 4 extra cards, so they have 5 cards in their hand. Draw 4 is so good. Narcomoeba is awful. Alright, let's discard Narcomoeba here. And probably Watery Grave. And I think I will discard another Cephalic Coliseum as well, because then we can crack Cephalic Coliseum to draw extra cards. Let's attack with a 4/5 Frog. Oh, did I say Ribbit? Ribbit. And now we draw a card. Another land. Come on. Come on. Should I draw more cards now? I can discard Polluted Delta. I don't think so. It's hard. But discarding cards and drawing cards is not will not add to their storm count. So I think it's fine to just pass a turn here. Again, we have a basic swamp. Okay, Elegant Parlor is fine. This is a tapped land. My opponent is passing. Can we win next turn? We would need to hit Dredgers here and Creeping Chills. Okay, let's draw 3, discarding 3. Ooh, with Inquisition. What is our best shot here? Guys, I think I'm playing for a win from now. I'll keep Cephalic Coliseum instead of any control element. Let's play for a win. Let's play for a win. We need Creeping Chills. My opponent is seeing our graveyard. Okay, Dredge 5. No chills. Let's attack here. We'll discard Stinkwood Imp. 6 damage. Okay, my opponent's down to 4. Let's draw. Dredge 5. No chills yet. We have 1 Winternight Stories. Now Fatestitcher would be really good. We could unearth Fatestitcher, untap Psychic Frog, and play Winternight Stories. So let's discard Stinkwood Imp and crack Cephalic Coliseum. We have lethal next turn, but I would like to win this turn. Dredge, Dredge, and Dredge. 1 Creeping Chill. Alright, my opponent is down to 1. So Ral is a liability now, and my opponent cannot fetch anymore. They cannot play a Shockland. They already have 2 mountains. Rand's Resolve, alright. This is good. But they don't have ways to get a discount on their spells. Not yet. Only mana, Ritual and Ritual. Plus 5 cards in their hand. They might have Orim's Chant. Oh, this is so close. Now what? We have 24 life. This is good. It's not easy to kill us from a single chain of... My opponent conceded. We won. We won, guys. We won. We did a 5-0 with Fatestitcher and Souls of the Lost. And now I have a modern point to play the Modern Madness tournament on the weekend. Okay, guys. Okay, I think I have the feeling that let's try this without glasses. Well, I think we have this new configuration here as something that we must consider from now on. The 4th copy of Psychic Frog was amazing. Souls of the Lost actually was good. Sometimes it feels super slow if you don't have this in your Psychic Frog or Souls of the Lost. If you don't have any copy of those cards in your starting hand, this feels bad, right? Because they cannot do anything from your graveyard. We don't have a nerf. The card, I mean, not the ability from Fatestitcher. We don't have a nerf in our deck to reanimate cards. But every time we have a Psychic Frog or a Souls of the Lost in our hand, sometimes with a turn 1 enabler, sometimes with a Winternight Stories plus Stinkwood Imp or other Dredger, and this happened a lot in this league. We had incredible hands to test this deck, sometimes with Psychic Frog, Winternight Stories, perfect hands with Cephalic Coliseum and Stinkwood Imp plus a turn 1 enabler. So I'm inclined to keep testing this modern deck. Fatestitcher didn't shine that much, but maybe we could try it a little bit more. As I was explaining to you my idea to this deck in the intro of this video, at some point I thought, whoa, this is actually a really good idea. Can you imagine having maybe 3 copies of Fatestitcher, and so you can more rely in a more reliable way, you can untap Psychic Frog and cast a 2nd or a 3rd copy of Winternight Stories all in the same turn and win the game as a Dredge combo deck, like we did with Satoru Dredge in Legacy. Maybe there is something hidden here. Souls of the Lost is amazing. At some point in this league, I felt like I was playing with Dark Depths Merit Ledge from Legacy, because this can be even bigger than a Merit Ledge. And if your opponent's removals are Lightning Bolt or Galvanic Discharge, this is immune to removal spells like that, like those. So your opponent needs to exile this, or to block this forever. The Dredge Core is the same. Wonder is amazingly good in this deck. Our sideboard worked more than once. Harbinger of the Seas wasn't needed in this league, but I still believe in this card. Forces and Inquisitions had their moments. So yeah, I'm happier than ever with Blue Dredge in Modern. But I don't think this is done yet. This is probably just a scratch. It's not that hard to do a 5-0 in Modern when you read the metagame. And I think I did a right reading of the metagame to include 2 copies of Souls of the Lost and a 4th copy of Psychic Frog. We had those cards in our starting hands almost every time. And every time we had one of them, we increased our chances to win games, especially against faster decks than ours. But this might change in a minute. We blink our eyes, and in the next week, our combo decks everywhere in Modern again. So we must keep our attention. Maybe there will be weeks when Blue Dredge is amazing, and then the next week, Phoenix Dredge is good, or maybe Crawler Dredge, or maybe a classic Grixis Dredge with Cathartic Reunions and Faithless Looting. So one thing I know for sure, I am super excited to open up more ways to dredge in Modern. And I hope you are enjoying this journey here with me. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below, guys. It's not every night that we do a 5-0 with Fatestitcher in Modern. And now, probably from now on, I'm using glasses here on this channel. See you soon. Bye.